down to Mitch Argent and Shane Jordan.
Battling hard on the standing block. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Australia or New Zealand? Oh my God, how close is this? And it's Australia!
The atmosphere last night in the team's relay was unreal.
That is their title of Team World Champion. 2 years in a row.
Oh, definitely. It'd be the noisiest crowd I've competed against.
Shane Jordan's already over there.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of getting goosebumps thinking about it right now.
The crowds here, they were just erupting.
You feel the energy of the crowd.
My goodness, what a great comeback from Belgium with a time of 1.
The crowd was absolutely electric.
And it was so much noise and support.
Ja, doch, das pusht schon rum und mein Fanclub ist auch da.
Very passionate about their country and, yeah, the competitors.
Yeah, it feels super.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
It's pretty awesome to compete in front of a crowd like this.
But he's not giving up. He's looking good.
Like such an adrenaline rush. It's an amazing feeling.
They make a lot of noise, and that's good for our spirit.
Is it going to be the Czech Republic? And the crowd goes bananas.
It's absolut extrem hier. Man hört's.
Please welcome to your grand final the reigning defending champion, Lawrence O'Toole, and the world champion, Braden It is nice, it is thick and fast. Whose cookie's going to drop first? They are neck and neck. Braden Meyer did tell us before he was going to leave everything out on this stage. The defending champion's probably taking the lead. His cookie's going to drop first. Swing for swing. Live into the triple again. Lawrence O'Toole has done it again.
Im Mai messen sich Athleten aus 12 Nationen bei der World Trophy in Wien.
Let's there be lights and welcome backstage here at the Bavaria Film Studios in Munich. It's time for a look back at the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Series 2020, and I've got a very special guest for you guys. Troy, come in. Here he is, the one and only Troy Manering.
Flothi, hi. How are you?
Yeah,
so
great.
Good?
Yeah, what about you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm glad to be back in Studio 6. It's nice to be back in the flow again.
Yeah, and you look great, man.
Why, thank you very much.
I'm sure you know his voice, but I'm not 100% certain if you've seen him in full shiny armor.
Full shiny armor, and there's plenty of it. Yeah, I mean, you guys normally don't get to see me because I'm hidden up in the crow's nest or somewhere else. But, you know, later in the season last year, we got to stick together on the floor, and that was a lot of fun. I really appreciated being down there, and
that's why I invited you.
Yeah, showing my face on camera is a bit scary, but okay, here I am. Let's do it.
We'll get through, and we've got the mask, so
yes.
I mean, that's a nice start.
Can hide for the first half an hour.
Yeah. This, by the way, is really backstage. Normally, you wouldn't be allowed to be here, but we'll still show you, won't we?
Yeah, of course.
On our way to the studio.
We gotta have a little tour on our way over to the studio, right?
Absolutely. So what did you enjoy most last season?
Well, I mean, let's face facts. I enjoyed actually being able to be back at work and seeing the athletes doing their thing. And, you know, we were lucky enough to have an actual live event here in studio.
Oh, yeah.
But not only that, we managed to pull off a couple of broadcasted events through the studio that came to us that were then
also
from our
in
side.
Bavaria.
Yeah, exactly. From our side, put back out there. So, I mean, we had the athletes busy, we had ourselves busy,
yes.
and we got the fans covered as well. So that was a really big deal for us.
And a lot of new competitions.
Yes.
And a lot of new habits.
Yes.
Doing this properly.
Got to get in deep.
Yep.
Tips of the fingers as well. This I learned from a friend of mine.
Okay, boss, yeah. And I've learned a lot of things 2020, not only about STIHL Timbersports, but also how to wash my hands, how to disinfect my hands,
The
how
old
to
teaching
dress
the young, huh?
properly. Yes. And it was very enjoyable, Troy. I have to say a big thank you. You know, it's been a great season.
Yeah.
I mean, 2021 started off absolutely exciting with the new format.
Yeah, with a bang.
Hard Saw Challenge.
Yes.
Really love that. And of course, 2020 has a lot to offer. During this show, we're going to have, some really great footage from last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was some exciting stuff going on last year. Oh,
somebody working.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Okay. So
It's good to see the people back at work, though. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. And this really is backstage.
Yes.
You won't get to see this very often. No, you won't.
Yeah.
But sorry, continue.
No, I was just going to say 2020, I mean, with all the things that we had to deal with, we still had some fantastic action, and you guys out there are going to get an opportunity to relive a lot of it through our show today. So I'm really looking forward to doing that and being here with you in the studio, Markus.
I wish I could hug you, but I know it's not allowed.
Virtual hug, right?
Yeah.
Like the virtual competitions.
Absolutely. And I think it's also very interesting to see what the STIHL Timbersports athletes were doing during the lockdown before we move right behind these walls to our new living room, to the studio.
Yeah.
So here are the STIHL Timbersports athletes, especially for you. Enjoy.
Things have changed in the year 2020. We all know that.
And welcome to the STIHL Timbersports World Championship. Hey Timbersports World, it's Matt Slingerland here.
Hi, ich bin Adi Münzenmeier.
I'm Martha King.
G'day, I'm Brad Relive.
Questo è Michał Dubicki.
Ciao a tutti, sono Michael Elping.
Jag som är Ferry Svan.
Hi fans, here's the Robert.
I'm Ryden Myers.
24 years of age. I believe he's still our current world record holder in the underhand chop.
During COVID, I moved to El Paso, Texas, took a travel therapy job, wanted to help out the community.
In this current situation with the COVID-19, I've just spent a lot of time at home, spending time with our newborn baby Grace.
Just doing some stuff around the house, doing bathroom remodel.
Doing hobbies I enjoy, such as steelhead fishing and mushroom foraging.
In der Freizeit, die mir bleibt, versuche ich mehr zu wandern und Zeit zu verbringen mit meiner Familie.
Definite advantage now for Armin Kugler from Austria. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ich hoffe, dass bald wieder vorangeht, dass die Saison starten kann, auch dieses Jahr noch.
We're a strong community and we love our sport, so keep training, stay positive.
Es kann bloß besser werden. Wir halten jetzt alle voll durch.
Still keeping up with some of the training, because eventually when this thing's over, we're going to have a competition sometime.
Hopefully everyone's still training hard and keeping an eye on what we do over the off-season, and hopefully we're up and going as soon as we can.
We're a community. We're in this together.
It is just a fantastic event. The excitement in the audience, the fans absolutely going for it. It is loud as can be in here. The fans are going bananas, and we are going to see some epic competition here.
I want to say I miss you guys. I can't wait till we get to compete against each other again.
Ich hoffe, dass es euch allen gut geht, dass ihr gesund seid, dass eure Familien gesund sind.
Take care of yourselves, but also take care of others.
Stay home, keep training, because I know I am.
Ich freue mich auf euch, auf die Fans, auf die Follower, auf alle, die den Sport begeistern und verfolgen.
Be nice and kind to people as much as you can.
Ich hoffe, ihr bleibt alle gesund und wir können uns demnächst wieder auf einen wunderschönen Wettkampf sehen.
Stay safe and I hope to see you all soon.
Ich wünsche euch alles Gute und wir sehen uns. Bis dann.
Stay safe, be smart, and train a lot because I'm coming for you.
And hopefully we'll have a good year. Cheers.
Well, I guess you could truly say we are a very creative community. And Troy, we can get rid of these now because we have just been tested negative and we're keeping the distance.
Important.
By the way, how did you waste your time during the first lockdown?
Well, I guess you could say there's a little bit of time wasting going on. I mean, you and I both know traveling a lot for these events, doing sport commentary, from one day to the next, everything was just gone, cut off from everything that we love to do so much, and stuck at home. Positive is that got a little bit more family time. We got to spend more time at home with family, doing family-oriented things that
couching,
maybe normally
relaxing,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
making food together where normally we might go out to eat somewhere, right? Eating a lot of food, unfortunately. But you know, we tried to do family-oriented stuff, board games a little bit more, less TV. We went for a lot of walks, did some bike riding, some inline skating, just to try and stay active when the weather was still nice. So
keeping yourself fit, nice.
Yeah, that's what you would say. But we were a bit creative, like we were here.
Oh, that sounds very nice. And do you remember your first thoughts when STIHL said we're going to take STIHL Timbersports into Bavaria Studio 6?
I mean, I could cry and scream with joy at the same time. I mean, I was so excited that we were going to get back to business.
Yeah, but could you believe it? Because I still can't.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big studio, but...
Yeah, it's a sizable piece of property in here, let's be honest. But I mean, compared to some of the locations we've been at in Liverpool, in Norway, in
Prague,
Sweden, in Hamburg, I mean, those sets, we could call them, were quite big. So the fact that they got it into the studio here is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is more than impressive. And I remember Robert Ebner being here trying out the stuff, and he was climbing up the ladder to stay, if it's high enough for the springboard, getting really close to the lights. And then, you know, it was hot, but it worked.
Yeah, it worked fantastically. I mean, you can't complain about that. It was an absolute awesome way to get things rolling again.
And I think everybody should see how it worked out. And that's why we're going to show you some brilliant pictures of how Bavaria Studio 6 became the new home of STIHL Timbersports.
The Bavaria Film Studios in the south of Munich. In 2020, it became the surprise home to STIHL Timbersports for the competitions held without audiences.
Ich habe es nicht erlebt, also einen wirklichen Wettkampf, ganz ohne Publikum. Ich bin wirklich gespannt.
Die deutsche Meisterschaft im Studio auszutragen, ist jetzt ganz, ganz neu, ohne Publikum.
Es sind die Medien ja noch präsent, die das auch nach außen hin tragen.
This was a whole new experience for everyone involved.
Ja, in der Zeit Corona alles ein bisschen anders ist.
Es wird auf jeden Fall komplett was Neues sein.
Studio 6 was adapted to offer all the action of Timbersports.
The Four Nations Cup is a really good competition, so we can meet and compete again. It's been a long while.
It took 2 whole days to unload 4 40-ton trucks and set up a custom-made stage in the studio, working down to the millimeter to meet the expectations of athletes and virtual fans alike.
Ich habe große Erwartungen. Ich freue mich auf einen neuen Wettkampf. Es ist schön, auf europäischer Ebene einen Wettkampf machen zu können, auch in dieser schweren Zeit. Es ist natürlich schwer ohne Zuschauer, das vermisse ich, aber die können ja im Livestream auch noch zuschauen.
The idea was to give not just the athletes, but also the presenters and commentators a worthy new home to offer online fans exciting broadcasts of upcoming events.
It's gonna be pretty strange that there are no audience, but the studio looks pretty amazing here, so I will do my best anyway.
Gerade bei der deutschen Meisterschaft gibt es ja auch einen Livestream. Das pusht mich, glaube ich, schon auch, weil ich weiß, alle Fans oder die Freunde, Familie zu Hause, die gucken dann auch mit. Natürlich ist es ganz was anderes, wie ich für mich das handeln werde und ob ich mich dann nochmal auch gut pushen kann, aber ich glaube schon.
But before things could get started, the stage still needed approval, both for the sport and in terms of safety. Martin Komarek and Robert Ebner put the new stage to the test. Both were 100% happy, so competitions in Studio 6 could finally get underway.
Oh, wow. What a premiere. I can still feel it. Yeah.
They're starting to come again, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I was just a few meters from here. And
no. Yeah, I mean, I looked at it from two different perspectives. First, I was in the bird's nest, and then I ended up down here with you. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how things panned out with, you know, being up high and looking down.
And it was great for me because you were so far away.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Yeah, getting back to the Santa Claus comments, huh?
Yeah. Really enjoyed it. But but keep going. I mean, from up there to down here?
Up there you get a different perspective, but it's also interesting because normally you're so far away from the athletes, they can't hear what you're saying about them, and you talk about them a little bit, and it's kind of fun because you can tease the guys that you know well enough to be able to tease. But when you're up there in the bird's nest and you're talking about a guy that's going up on the springboard and he's like literally 3 or 4 meters away from you, you can't really tease the guy that much because he's got a real sharp axe in his hand. But it was nice to have that perspective and then have this perspective here as well, because you get two different views of how things go down. And I've always been, you know, more or less even or high up for these events. So being this close is really nice.
What about rules and strategy? Do you see a big difference compared to ordinary competitions?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, more or less it stayed pretty much status quo. The fact of the matter is that we had to deal with all of the different restrictions of mask wearing, social distancing. So those are the things that made it a little bit more difficult. So obviously when the athletes were on stage, there was no hand clapping high fives or anything like this. It was maybe the odd elbow, and that was about it. I mean, it made it a little bit weird, but at the end of the day, the guys were here. They were doing exactly what they know how to do very well and that they love doing, and we were back in the mix as well, doing what we love to do. And so, I mean,
and the fans enjoyed it.
Given the situation, we were in the perfect storm, more or less. And yeah, it gave the fans what they wanted. And that's also super important for us.
Absolutely. And it was a great start into the summer. I mean, we even saw some great record breaking. We had a national record. We had a world record. I mean, what more do you want?
World record in stock saw from Poland at the Polish National Championships. I mean, you know, that was super exciting because we weren't really expecting a lot of things to go on. I mean, you know, when the adrenaline is flowing and the audience is there and everybody's screaming, you know, you got a little bit more juice. But these guys really threw down, and we had a world record broken in stock saw. So, I mean, you can't complain about that. That's just awesome. And we also had a national record in the hot saw in, I believe, Benelux.
Yeah, true.
So, all in all, great results from a very strange situation that we, like we said off the top, were creative about bringing back to the action.
And of course, we were not sure if the athletes were going to be in top shape because, you know, with the lockdown being there and nobody really knowing when to get back to business, that was really, really impressive.
Yeah, they were fit. They were ready to go. I mean, obviously, these guys had really taken to heart the fact that they knew at some point they were going to come back to it, and they just didn't go couch potato like yours truly. They actually kept busy. They were chopping wood, they were cutting, they were exercising, getting their fitness levels up, and we saw that. You know, we saw that in the competitions.
And you guys are going to see that now because we're going to show you the highlights of this summer. It was absolutely amazing. Summer of 2020 coming up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome for the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS German Championship 2020.
Also bereit für die deutsche Meisterschaft fühle ich mich, ja auf jeden Fall. Jetzt natürlich dieses Jahr eine neue Situation für mich. Ich bin das erste Mal der Gejagte.
My goodness, and a 13.83 for Robert Ebner. How close is that? First and second in the overall. Like 3 good cuts there. He took his time with a 5.98. That's also a very good time, and that means if everything is in order with the lines, Danny Marr will repeat as German national champion.
We're going live to Poznan in just a few seconds.
We're back again for the Polish National Championships. And ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're getting right into the action immediately. 2 good cuts and 2 personal bests for these gentlemen.
Warm up is on.
Wow, quick start by Jaskowski. Drozdek very strong in this discipline, though. Jaskowski gets that upcut started a little bit before Drozdik did. Oh, great time! Can it be true? A world record here? That would be exciting here, especially for the guys in Poland. Unbelievable.
Stand 1. A new world record. Both cuts go!
World records don't just fall at the World Championships. The final heat to determine it all.
1, go!
Oh, it's a bad cut by Arkadiusz Drozdik. He knows it. He saw that thing goes down. He needs to cut another one to get 3. Dubicki's got 10.03. That means he will be the Polish national champion.
Welcome to the first STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Six Nations Rookie Cup.
He's got good flow, and it looks like he's playing catch-up now with Robin Haas. Oh, boy! Look at that. 13 seconds.
And here we go. Oliver Reinhardt going up against Emil Hansson. Nice even start by both of them. Oliver Reinhardt slamming out some big chunks there. Emil Hansson doing the same. Oh, big stick by Emil Hansson, but he opts to... Huge stick by Oliver Reinhardt, though. Emil Hansen's got the block loose. He gets it done at 20:23. Oliver Reinhardt, he is just passing the 28-second mark at 28:51. And the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Six Nations Rookie Cup winner for 2020 is Oliver Reinhardt from Switzerland.
Welcome to the National Benelux Championships live from Haarlem in the Netherlands.
It's Koen Martens with 11.01, fastest time of the day. Great start from Rick van Drielen. Oh yeah, 5.84, national record from Rick van Drielen. One mistake could be the difference maker between winning it and losing it. Oh no, here we go. Koen Martens having problems with his saw. This is a disastrous situation for both of these guys, but Koen Martens gets through in 20.78. That means Koen Martens is your Benelux champion 2020.
Welcome to the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Four Nations Cup. At the first international pro competition in 2020, the athletes will compete individually in 6 disciplines. It shouldn't be long now before he cuts through that. Yes, done and dusted in 52.34, and he's happy about a personal best in springboard. Ferry Swan has moved over after Armin Kugler, and that means that Armin Kugler has a slight advantage here, but Ferry Swan is looking pretty solid. Who's going to be? Oh, it's going to be Armin Kugler with a 24.56. He really took his time here to make sure that each cut was on point. So if he can get a good time here, he will be the champion. Let's see if he can beat Armin Kugler. 7.81, a personal best. Yes, he's first, and that means he wins the competition here. Great job.
Oh yeah, what a start into the summer. I thought we were rolling. It looked so good, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really promising. We got some great results. I mean, we just saw from the video there, a national record got broken. We had a new world record in the stock, saw a fantastic action, and then poof, everything disappeared once again with our second lockdown.
International travel restrictions, no world championships. We were crying, Troy. It's a very sad moment.
It was a very sad moment. I thought, geez, my new couch has just gone out the door there. We're going to have to use the old one for a little bit longer. Nevertheless, you know, comes the creativity once again.
Oh, true. We had an absolutely new format, and that made things possible because STIHL TIMBERSPORTS went virtual. But what does that mean, Troy? Can you explain?
Well, I mean, in virtual, it actually means that we remotely had all of the feeds from various countries delivered to us here in Studio 6, where we were taking care of all of the restrictions within house. So social distancing, masks, tests, and so on and so forth. And then we were able to still put these sports out there and show you STIHL Timbersports through the magic of the internet and this fantastic setup that we've got here to be able to pull this off. And it worked really well.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, we started off with the Australian Championship. So it was the first virtual Australian Championship. We had different territories. And of course, we had a very new system because we were putting the athletes next to each other in split screens, even though they were competing in totally different places and on different days even.
Yeah, it was really great how they did it because they had the same timing system that we use for all of the STIHL Timbersports events worldwide. And what they did is, because of the 4 territories, there were no cross-border traveling allowed in Australia even. That's how tight the restrictions were there. So 3 guys from each territory got ready to battle it out. Their times were kept secret. Their everything was kept from these guys throughout this whole virtual Australian Championship. And it got put together here for us to be able to send it out there and still give you a really exciting competition with head-to-head action, although it was at different locations and different times within Australia. And then, of course, our judging staff took care to look at all of the slow motion video footage, all of the times, put it together, and we got a fantastic event at the end of the day.
Oh, no doubt about that. But it was crazy for the athletes as well because they were competing, and until the day we put everything together here in Bavaria Studio 6, they didn't have a clue who won.
No clue. It was funny.
They didn't even know, did I proceed to round 2? Did I get to the hot saw? You know, nobody knew. And I think that's a very new aspect and a very exciting aspect also for the athletes.
Absolutely. It gives them an opportunity to get excited about the sport because they don't know what's going on in the next the next town, the next state, the next country. So theoretically speaking, we could do this worldwide. Obviously, we want to be back to being able to travel, to see the guys live and have audiences in the mix. But under the circumstances, this is a really fun way to keep these athletes really on the edge of their seat because they don't know who's got the fastest time until it actually gets broadcast, and then it's even a surprise for them, just like the surprise Braden Meyer had when we had this pre-bedtime call to him.
Yeah, and you guys should see that too. So here is a short summary of the first virtual Australian Championship. Enjoy.
We've never really compared in that way before. You've got a different format. You're not just as casual as what it normally is.
I'm just looking forward to competing again. It's been so long, and I'll be really interested to see how I go.
I think not knowing your times might help a little bit. It's going to be a different feeling competing with no crowds and a different feeling for this event.
I'm not too concerned about not knowing my times. I'm going out there just to cut that log or saw that log as best as I can.
I know why I'm here, and that should be enough to drive me along.
To make sure the competition was fair, the wood was selected in line with the STIHL Timbersports rules. All of the athletes participated in the wood draw by video conference. The wood was then taken to the competition sites.
To be honest, having no crowd, no competitor beside you, it'll be a little bit different.
You know if you've had a good cut or a bad cutting.
Yeah, this year being a COVID year, it's our first event since March, so yeah, I'm pretty anxious and a little bit nervous, but it should be good.
I think it's more just mentally yourself. You really need to focus on your own.
Yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to the competition. It's been like a long time out.
Yeah, it's great to be back on the competition field. I'm really excited for this event this weekend.
Glad to be back out of the paddock, out of the tractor seat, so just looking forward to having a day off.
The times were logged using identical video equipment in each location and kept secret from the athletes. After that, the video material was sent to the judges in Australia, who analyzed the times and determined the results.
Three, 2, 1, go!
There was no surprise in the underhand chop. World record holder and reigning individual world champion Braden Meyer scored the fastest time with 14.37 seconds. Cody Steers from Tasmania was hot on his heels at 15.55 seconds. Even with such a good time, Meyer knows he can do better.
Yeah, it fell quick, but the back wasn't real good, so it was a bit disappointing, but anyway.
The man with the biggest axe in timber sports, Glenn Gillam, scored the 10 points awarded for the third fastest time. '13 individual world champion Brad DeLosa came in 8th, which was quite a surprise.
To your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
On the stock saw, Jamie Head won by just 1/100th of a second over second place Brody Dingle. It was incredibly tight.
Oh, probably wasn't my best run. I tried to just make a nice consistent run. I got to the wood pretty good.
David Rumer had a few issues, although he was ultimately disqualified after several attempts having cut over the line.
The athlete has DQ'd, he's cut over the line.
Oh, it's just a straight up DQ, mate. That's all it was. No, I'd be very surprised, but yeah, I reckon that's my day over, mate.
The third fastest contender, Lawrence O'Toole, came in just 1/10 of a second behind Head. In the third event, the standing block chop, Lawrence O'Toole took the 12 points with a strong 17.42 seconds. Mitch Argent racked up 10 points with 18.05 seconds.
Yeah, I put a perfect 8 in the front there. Straight to the game plan, so I was pretty happy with that.
Cody Steers came in second in the standing block. Brad DeLosa, one of the favorites for this event, was eliminated early and did not go on to round number 2.
3, 2, 1, go!
In the single buck, powerhouses Meyer and Gillam were neck and neck. In the end, Gillam was ahead by a nose, winning this discipline ahead of Meyer at 15.40 seconds. Argent and O'Toole placed 3rd and 4th, leaving them in the running for the title. Round 2 continued with the springboard, one of the toughest events. O'Toole and Head on the first springboard at almost the same time. O'Toole was a beat faster on the second pocket, and he held this lead right up till the end, coming in with the fastest time in springboard. Braden Meyer came in 3rd behind Jamie Head. That put the title within reach for all 3 of those men. A title chance was still there for Mitch Argent as well, but a completely messed up cut in the final event on the hot saw made all his dreams of the title go up in smoke.
DQ, cut line, and insufficient cookie.
In the end, it was Braden Meyer. He was unstoppable with an incredible hot saw time of 5.80 seconds, bagging a well-deserved victory. Among other things, he took the win because previously top-ranked Lawrence O'Toole had taken way too long with the hot saw at 26.59 seconds.
Real confident I think I've done enough, but I think I might be middle of the field, but definitely that hot saw will help me then, and hopefully, yeah, I can jump up the leaderboard there and maybe get the win.
Hot saw, once again the make-or-break discipline as Braden Meyer takes the overall win at the first ever Virtual Australian Championship.
Braden Meyer, what an athlete. Is he the man to beat?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw him take down some of the best in Australia at the Virtual Australian Championships, and one of the big surprises there was Brad DeLosa, an absolute legend in the sport, eliminated in the first round. I mean, who would have thought that, right?
No way.
But I mean, we talk about Australia and New Zealand a lot. These are two countries that are providing a massive amount of really top quality timber sports athletes. You know, Braden Meyer, we've seen him the last few years with the fastest axe you've ever seen in your life. I mean,
Unreal.
I've never seen anybody
Yes.
move an axe like he does on the underhand chop. And Mitch Argent, he's no joke at all. I mean, and the Australian team isn't the team world champion for no reason whatsoever, right? So really fantastic athletes coming from this area. But that's not to say that other countries aren't also providing really good infrastructure and great athletes that are coming out. The USA, Canada, of course, you've got fantastic athletes there. Yeah, and of course, 14 nations in one small space in Europe, and that makes for some very interesting close quarter competitions. You could almost like saying it's a home competition between 14 countries here.
Yeah, and is that maybe the reason why so many European athletes like to go to Australia for a bit of practice?
Well, yeah. I mean, if we look at the Six Nations rookie winner this year and the Four Nations Cup winner, they both went down to Australia to train with the guys down there because they know that they're going to learn a lot from these dudes down there. Ferry Swan was training with Lawrence O'Toole. Reinhardt was down there training as well. So Oliver Reinhardt and Ferry Swan both going down to Australia to train. And we saw the results of that training in the Six Nations and the Four Nations Cup. So, I mean, obviously it pays off to work with some of the best guys in the world.
And of course, the Europeans said, wow, we really enjoyed the first Virtual Australian Championship.
Absolutely.
We want to have the first European Championship that goes out virtual. So we did.
But doink, we pulled it off. Absolutely. I mean, it was fantastic. We saw, again, really, really exciting action. And with a similar format to what they did in Australia, nobody knew the results until the whole thing was broadcast. And then it was a surprise phone call once again, right?
And a little more difficult, to be honest, because we have 14 different nations, not just territories, but nations, and getting the woods to the different countries and then making sure that the referees are there and that the system is working. That was quite an amount of work.
Yeah, I mean, they pulled it off, though. It was just a logistical nightmare. But these guys at STIHL TIMBERSPORTS, they've got it all down to a system now. The wood was delivered. It was fair. The timing systems were all delivered. It was fair. And we saw some really fantastic competition at this Virtual European Championship. And, I mean, you can't complain. Again, we're back in the action. We're back at work. And we're having fun watching this sport that we love so much.
So take a look at this.
The 2020 season is a bit special. A lot of training, but no competitions.
Indeed, it's strange, like with the COVID, there's no audience, you don't see other athletes.
It is a hard situation around the world. You must be happy that we can compete in.
Wird ja, neue Situation sein, aber doch bin gut vorbereitet, freue mich sehr.
Es ist ein europaweiter Wettkampf mit professionellem Holz und so weiter.
You know, I'm very happy to be a part of this, and it's a lot better than not competing at all.
I'm very grateful for STIHL for organizing this digital competition.
So I would like to thank you, the organization.
I like the virtual competition really much. It was a good format during the circumstances.
I'm very thankful for all the crew, like behind the scenes, that they put up this good show. So thank you very much for that.
Grundsätzlich ist es natürlich eine Chance gewesen, jetzt durch Covid-19 einfach Wettkämpfe zu bestreiten. Warum machen wir den Sport? Um Wettkämpfe zu machen.
I love how Martin Komarek has taken to heart also trying to get that axe moving as quickly as possible. Dubicki moves to the other side of his block. Dubicki finally breaks it open at 15:08. Komarek and 16:34. And you could see quick hits by Martins. Koen Martins already moved over to the other side. We should see a good time for the Belgian. Martins with a fantastic time of 16:73. Danny Marr with a little stick there, but he got it back out fairly quickly. Danny Marr is a power hitter, and this is where he gets stronger. Is he going to make it? Danny Marr is going to do it in 20:77.
Ja, der Wettkampf ist gestartet, Underhand eigentlich meine Parade, ein paar kleine Steckerchen gehabt. Auf der einen Seite waren die Winkel nicht gut gewesen. Die Zeit, glaube ich, ist gar nicht so verkehrt, aber kann ich besser.
Oh, Bosho with a great start. Bosho leaning into it on that upstroke. Bosho's got it in a 9.91. Very, very nice start. Koen Martins with a faster downstroke. Is he going to be able to keep that pace? He is, in a 9.95 for Koen Martins. Ooh, good start by Danny Marr. He gets a quick cut on that first one. Look at that. Though both of them were very fast, that cookie dropped almost identically at the same time. It's going to be Harms just ahead of Danny Marr. Elgin Pugh with a 10.46. A good time for the Brit. Tense moments here while they check to make sure everything is okay. Oh, no. A disqualification for Elgin Pugh.
It's probably as bad as it can be, really. You know, a cut line. It's just, you know, the worst outcome possible. So, you know, it's not a lot I can say, really. Oh.
And look at Miko Dubicki go. He has got a quick axe. Miko Dubicki. Oh, my goodness. A great time by Miko Dubicki with a 15.98. That log is shaking from the huge hits that Puy Barret is giving it. Dan on the other side, Ferry Swan has moved over already. Puy Barret joining him though, and Ferry Swan is looking good. He's got that one down in a good time, 16.27. Puy Barret in 17.97.
I was really happy with my cut. Unfortunately, I didn't get the last hit when I wanted, but it was really good cut.
Both get started very nicely. You can see the professionalism of these guys. Puy Barret gets a hookup right there, not once but twice, and Komarek is through an 11.24. Danny Marr opting for shorter strokes but faster. Danny Marr with those short strokes though gets it done.
Singleback bin ich sehr zufrieden. Da denke ich, das habe ich mich ein bisschen verbessert. Frequenztechnisch bin auch gut drauf geblieben.
Dubicki's got a lot of power. He's cut off the cookie too early. That means he's got to go back and cut the remainder of it. A good 4-hit pocket for Cormac. Cormac is already getting his second pocket set. Cormac is on top with a good angle on his board in a solid position. Cormac definitely has the advantage here with a 45-65. Good time by Cormac. Good position of the board, though. Hopefully it doesn't sag too much so you can get that second pocket nice and clean. This is what I'm talking about. Being a lighter guy, he has the advantage of being able to go way out to the back of that board with that steep angle and really use his legs and his hips to absolutely power through those strokes. Mikhail Dubicki, on the other hand, he's a big man. He doesn't have the steep angle, but he's got so much power. Wow, Fairy Swan at 54-35. Oh, a big skip by Danny Marr, but so, and it was a problem right there from Danny Marr. He has to go back and reset that board as it popped out. Thankfully, it was the bottom board. And that's an unfortunate time for Danny Marr at what? Oh, wait a minute now. They might not allow that, in fact.
Okay. DQ, cut from one side.
Ich habe auf der ersten Seite 2 Schläge zu viel investiert und somit ist der Block abgebrochen. Und Block muss von beiden Seiten durchtrennt werden, deswegen DQ und auch keine Chance, denke ich, auf die Hotzone.
Armin Kugler with a 56-15 and Christoph Geisler with a 56-44. That's as close as it gets in springboard, folks. In the overall standings, Komarek stays on top in a good position with Dubicki and Swan in second and third, respectively. Kuhn Martins, little bit of a pause on his first cut, and he's got himself a good time.
I'm very happy how the Hotzo went. I guess I will be under 7 seconds or something. That's my feeling.
Pierre Puy-Barret. Looks like 3 good cookies on the deck with a time of 6.31 seconds. And our next athlete on deck is Danny Marr. Oh, a little bit of a delay on the upstroke.
Der Hotzer-Schnitt geht viel besser, aber das habe technische Probleme gehabt. Die Säge ist einfach nicht durchgelaufen, ist fast ausgegangen. Ich bin froh, dass ich gut durchgekommen bin.
So there's only one athlete still to come, and that is Martin Komarek. Oh no!
The hot saw was not so good because the chain fell down and then break the chain, but it was my mistake.
So a DQ for Martin Komarek means 0 points, and that means in the overall standings, Mika Dubicki takes it with 59 points and is your virtual European champion for 2020.
So it is Dubicki lifting up the trophy at the virtual European Championships. A bit of a surprise to me, to be honest.
For me, yes and no. I'm with you because we've seen Dubicki go from strength to strength over the last few years. The thing that really sets him apart is he's really consistent. You know, he didn't have the strongest hot saw, but his entire performance was very consistent throughout the entire virtual championships. And the fact that Martin Komarek's chain came off again, yes. Basically fed Dubicki the championship. So big congratulations to him, obviously, because he definitely deserved it.
Well deserved.
And as we see, consistency plays a big role. And also,
so does this
discipline here. Yeah.
Do you know whose saw this is?
I do, in fact, know whose saw this is. This is Danny Marr, the 3rd fastest cutter in Germany, and this thing is an absolute treat to have sitting next to us. It is a beast. And I mean, we could talk about the different aspects of the saw. We know that this is the make or break discipline for a lot of these events. And, you know, we can basically go over why is
well,
that
Danny is
the way
one
it
of the
is.
fastest in Europe, maybe one of the fastest in the world, and he has 3 of those. And you can't buy these in a shop, can you? You can't just go, oh, can I have one of those hot sauce, please?
Well, I think it's a lot of customizing here, you know, between the Wangel motor or the Rotax and the different bar setups here. I mean, we can see that Danny has the fatter bar here. There's a difference between this bar and the other bars that are on. You see a lot of the guys with the straight bar. And if you pay attention to the competitions where they're actually cutting those 3 cookies on the big block, you'll very often see that the chain will skip up above the flat bar more easily.
And it scares me every time, every single time.
Yeah, because that's the risk on the upstroke or the downstroke when the motor's humming again after they've released it and then gone back into the power, that the chain could come off. And I mean, it's not going to happen with a fatter bar, as we saw in the competition this time around with Martin Komarek. He also has a fat bar like this, but it happens. The difference is here is that the tension in the chain is distributed nicely around the entire bar here, whereas in the straight bar, the tension is taken at the front and the back, where it's really tightly going around those 2 parts of the bar. So, you know, they cut evenly, they cut the same. Some are higher to get up because the bar is fatter, so you got to lift it up higher. I was talking with Danny about it earlier. He says, yeah, I mean, great to have a fat bar, but if you're a short guy, you can't get it up high enough. So, yeah, and you see also, Danny has these really high teeth. These are tall teeth that he's got on there, and there are also shorter teeth. So it's a personal preference thing, but these are beasts, these saws.
Troy, have a guess how much time Danny invested in this chain, just to make sure it's the way he wants it to be.
I'm imagining a good 10 to 15 hours, maybe more.
Yeah, around 15 hours, that's what he said.
As those taking a file to each and every tooth to make sure it's sharp enough to exactly the way he wants it for the competition.
But I love seeing it in slow motion, you know, when everything just seems to be perfect and the Spain just flies left and right. And the price for one of these, you know how much you have to pay to get one of these?
Starting price is around 5,000 euros for one of these saws. So if you got the money, you can invest in one, but it's not exactly the easiest thing to
invest in this one.
To get a hold of.
I tried to buy it off Danny today, and he told me a price.
Yeah, I mean, with all the modifications you can do to these saws, titanium bolts in different spots, a magnesium carburetor to reduce the weight and increase the power a little bit. I mean, you can go up to tons and tons and tons of money, but I'm guessing around between 10 and 15,000 euros for this saw.
And he'd give it to me for 9,999.
What a deal!
You want to jump in?
We can split the difference and then maybe have some fun with this saw, eh?
Because there is a new competition. We've seen it already in 2021. That's the Hot Saw Challenge.
Yes.
And, might be something that you and me could... No, I don't think that's a good idea.
I don't think so. You need a hell of a lot of practice to operate this machine safely.
But it's a great contest.
It's a great contest. In fact, I would venture to say that perhaps the hot saw is a great way for somebody that's new to the sport of timber sports to jump into it, because if you're a bit of a gas head, for instance, if you like motor cars, if you like motorbikes, if you like racing and that kind of stuff, then the hot saw is really a great way to get into the sport, because you've got those gas head aspects of this power saw here,
and it's
then
loud.
You've got it's really loud, and you've got the fun of seeing these guys cut these 3 discs in under 8 seconds. I mean, Danny's got a 6.53 world record is 5 and change. So
he had a low 5 in practice with this machine here.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on here.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the ordinary competitions. If this is round 3, it's always the maker or the breaker.
Absolutely.
And it's either winning or losing, and this has a lot to do with it.
This is the one and only discipline where the athletes are alone on stage.
Yeah, probably the most important event, but also the most frustrating.
These saws are so incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Usually the hot saw is the slider.
Stand to your timber.
Hot saw, hot saw. Like I can't describe to you when we're out there under pressure.
Saw starts well, first disc looks solid, cut is good.
You're always ending the competition on a hot saw, so you know where you're going to be at when you finish. So you're either at a real big high or just is what it is.
Nice clean cuts, easy, relaxed.
The hot saw
ist für mich die geilste Disziplin der Welt.
5, 6, 8, Robert Ebner, 3 on the deck.
Hot saw is a love-hate for me. I honestly don't get that much enjoyment out of it. I'm not a motorhead. I swallow my pills and eat it.
Once the competition comes, anything can happen. Oh no, a false start by Sterling Hart. What a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disappointment for me. Happens though, it's part of competing.
I saw there was 3 good discs there, but then let that nose come right up underneath, cross over the line.
Unfortunately, a disqualification.
It all relies on the hot saw.
Oh no.
Irgendwie soll es einfach nicht sein. Und dann springt die Hot Saw an, wieder mal.
Oh man, that is a bummer for Robert Ebner.
What are you taking away from this event?
Oh, probably last place. I don't know, headache. Yeah, shit hot saw. What else do you want?
If you have bad luck or if you did wrong, it's part, just your experience.
Oh my goodness, what an absolute disaster. The chain came off.
I was not disappointed because everybody see that I can be with the guys in front.
It's a bit of a disaster, so it was just operator error, and I didn't perform as well as I would have liked to.
Nice safe cut.
Oh no! Oh no!
Never prepared for that situation, but luckily it started and I've got 3 wheels and now I'm the world champion.
Yeah, it's the make or break event, you know.
I think you love and you hate it.
Das ist eigentlich immer ein geiles Ding. Ich schneide immer sehr sicher.
Weltrekord wollte ich schneiden, das war immer mein Ziel schon seit Jahren. Und das jetzt hier bei der DM zu machen, natürlich so grandios, kann man eigentlich gar nicht besser schreiben, das Buch. Und bin natürlich super glücklich.
Try to make 3 good cuts and no disqualification.
The hot saw is where it's all one, so that's the best event.
In the first ever virtual European Hot Saw Challenge, the top 8 Hot Saw contenders among the European national champions from 2020 went toe-to-toe for the title. Each athlete completed 4 heats with the Hot Saw in the location where they were training. The times were logged, and the first heat was used as a qualifier. This yielded the draw for the quarterfinal, which looked at the second times entered. The quarterfinals were knockout rounds, head-to-head, with only the top 4 advancing to the semifinal. The semifinal determined who would go on for a shot at the victory in the first ever virtual Hot Saw Challenge. The first duel in the quarterfinal saw Pierre Puy-Barré from France, the fastest contender so far after the qualifiers, compete against the Czech Republic's Martin Komarek, who scored a DQ, a disqualification during the qualifying rounds. Pierre Puy-Barré was quick, logging a time of 6.26. Unfortunately for Martin Komarek, he cut over the line and was a DQ.
Okay, DQ, cut the line.
In heat number 2, Martin Harms from the Netherlands goes up against Armin Kugler from Austria. Both of them cutting really well, but Martin Harms was just a tick faster. The first semi-finals were locked and loaded. Puy-Barré went up against Martin Harms from the Netherlands. Now it was Danny Marr's turn.
Grundsätzlich kommt es auf ruhig bleiben an und auf seine Leistung berufen, das zeigen, was man kann und das Quäntchen Glück einfach nicht vergessen, das gehört dazu.
Danny Marr now going up against the young man, Ferry Swan, and Danny Marr was blazingly fast at 5.57 seconds. Next up, we had Christoph Geisler from Switzerland going up against Poland's Mikael Dubicki. Geisler was just a hair faster than Dubicki with a 6.34. So Danny Marr sails ahead into the semifinals where he has to compete against Geisler from Switzerland, but first up, Puy-Barré is up against Harms. These guys both have very similar personal bests.
Timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Martin Harms is having a great day on the hot saw as he gets the fastest time between these two guys at a 6.26.
My hot saw is better when it's really hot, so it's a real hot saw.
Harms saw is running smoothly, as you can see in the slow-mo here, and that puts Harms in the final. Puy-Barré will get a chance for the bronze in the small final. In semi-final heat number 2, we saw Christoph Geisler going up against Danny Marr. Danny Marr has been very strong today. Let's see how this went down. Christoph Geisler, oh, they're matched up, but Geisler just a bit faster there. Unfortunately for Danny Marr, he was slightly slower than Christoph Geisler.
Am Ende war ein ganz kleiner Hager gewesen. Technisch doch kann die Säge mehr, aber ja, was will man machen? Hotzo ist Hotzo.
It is the make-or-break discipline, and Danny Marr, being one of the fastest guys on the day, will have to battle it out with Pierre Puy-Barré for the bronze medal.
To your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
It's a good start for both. Marr was faster, a little bobble there, scores the second fastest time of the day with 5.81.
DQ, cut the line.
And unfortunately, Pierre Puy-Barré cut over the line and is DQ'd. The big final battle would come down to Martin Harms going up against Christoph Geisler. Martin Harms has been having a good day. Geisler as well, with both of their saws working super well. And it's Martin Harms with a 6.21 who would beat Christoph Geisler with a 6.70. Those 3 cuts put Martin Harms at the top of the heap, taking the title in the first ever virtual hot saw challenge, with Christoph Geisler in second and Danny Marr taking the bronze in third.
Well, I think you can truly say that the season 2021 started off with a big roar.
Yeah, there's definitely truth to that statement, without a doubt. I mean, that was some exciting action we just saw with the hot saw in the finals of a few events, plus the hot saw challenge, which is a new format this year.
And hopefully we're going to get to see more of that, because all the athletes said they really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I mean, it was exciting for us as well, because the new format, normally we have the hot saw on stage alone, you know, with the glass partitions on both sides, so nothing goes flying out into the audience or,
yes,
you know, to the staff, because like I said before, these are very dangerous machines. You know, anything can happen. But the new format, the hot saw challenge, has the hot saws on stage going head to head with each other, which is really, really exciting, because then you get that adrenaline with the other guy on stage with you, and
you need a good strategy.
Absolutely.
Look at Danny Martin. He had the 2 fastest times. Had a 5.5 time in there as well, which is absolutely brilliant. I think the fastest time of the year, and he ended up third.
Yeah, I mean, it's milliseconds, literally. And we also saw what I talked about earlier with Martin Komarek in Norway. You saw that he had the straight bar, and the chain came off. The same thing happened. It might have just been a little bit of an angle that torqued the chain off. The same thing happened at the Virtual European Championship this year. So bad luck for Martin Komarek, but you know, you saw him run off stage, come back to try and fix that saw.
I love that.
I love his compete. I love his compete, and the fact that he's like, yeah, it happens. You know, just such a great guy, and his compete level is awesome. So this is just one discipline he needs to get, and then he's good to go.
And hopefully he's going to get the chance to show us a lot more of hot saw competition in the future.
Yeah.
Talking about the future, we've got some great events coming up, starting with the 8th of May with the Australian Trophy. Who's your favorite on that? Who you think is who's going to be strong at that?
That's a tough call. I mean, there are so many great athletes coming out of Australia.
Wow.
You know, you could throw a coin in the air, kick it, and it'll hit an athlete that could win. It's like we say in Canada, throw a rock and you'll hit an ice arena, you know? I mean, I can't decide on that one. That's just too hard.
I'm fine with that. It's going to be a great competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
In July, on the 31st, we're going to have the European Trophy and also the European Rookie Championship. another nice one to look forward to.
Looking forward to that very much so. The rookies that are coming up in the system are absolutely fantastic. There is some serious talent in the pipeline, and I think we're going to slowly, if not very quickly, see some of the old vets fall by the wayside as these rookies come up with new training techniques, new ways to do things, and just really dominate the sport. But there's still a few of the old granddaddy caddies that are pushing for the top spot.
Don't underestimate the oldies. On the 21st of August, we're going to have the German Championship in Gelsenkirchen. Maybe we're going to have a live audience, which would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I mean, the live audience is great because you get that vibe, you get that energy. The athletes get the energy. You feel all of that atmo that's there with the audience screaming and yelling.
Stop it, I'm getting goosebumps.
Me too. It's unbelievable. I mean, I really hope we can get back to doing audiences in the near future, but the virtual version has been surprisingly super cool.
And on the 12th of September, we're going to have the European qualification for the World Trophy. That's a nice one. And on the 2nd of October, the individual World Championships.
Finally. Yes, getting back to it. I can't wait to see that one. I mean, we'll see how it all pans out throughout this whole process in the pandemic and having to change the way we do things a little bit. I mean, like I said, pleasantly surprised how things have worked out. It's been great to have the athletes back in action, and for us as well, you know, nice to be back in the studio and being able to do what we love to do.
Absolutely. We're ready to rock and roll with you guys, and hopefully we're going to start with all that on the 8th of May with the Australian Trophy. So see you then. Till then, au revoir, bye-bye. Take care.
Adios.
Stand to your timber.
history-making location for STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Trophy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS World Championship.
Ha ha.